Yo, what's up, guys? I'm a Hellhound, and well, I just saw the Aquaman movie, and I've got to talk about it.
Hold on a second. Did somebody say Aquaman?
Dr. Guts, what are you doing here?
Well, I heard you say Aquaman, and I actually saw a movie about that lad today.
You saw it too?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, yeah, I was gonna make a video giving my thoughts about it. So.
Oh, this is on.
Yeah, I'm filming right now. So.
What's going on, guys? Dr. Guts here. This isn't Into the Pit, but I'm gonna crash his video. And you said Aquaman, so take it away,
Aquaman
Chief.
movie. So okay, well, I guess Dr. Guts is gonna talk about it with me since he saw it too. So yeah, Aquaman, as you know, from DC Comics, I'm a huge fan of the character, and what do I think about the movie? I freaking loved it. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was very, very good. One of the best superhero movies I've seen. Like nothing I've seen before. But before I begin, so the DC Extended Universe, this is the 6th film in that series. I've given my thoughts about the other movies before, but let's go ahead and recap real quick, okay? The very first movie in the DCEU is Man of Steel. Honestly, I thought this one was very meh. I don't think Superman should be dark and overly serious and overly realistic. I don't think that works for the character. I think he should be more lighthearted, the big blue Boy Scout, saving cats out of trees. I thought Henry Cavill's acting was a little wooden. Amy Adams, she's a great actress. I like her a lot. I don't really see her as Lois Lane. I thought Zod was a pretty good villain, played by Michael Shannon. But overall, I thought this movie was very meh. I give it a 7 out of 10. I rewatched it not too long ago. It used to be a 6, now it's a 7. There's good things about it. But a true Superman movie, I don't know. It was too much of a departure from what I used to.
Did he say Neil before Zod in that movie?
No. Yeah. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, he should have said that because that would have been awesome. And then there was Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, which was mostly a convoluted mess. Now I like this a little more than Man of Steel. Honestly, everything done from the Batman side of things I thought was great. I thought Ben Affleck was a great Batman. Jeremy Irons was a great Alfred. Everything done from the Batman side of things was great. Henry Cavill, again, wasn't a great Superman. He's no Christopher Reeve. Gal Gadot, who makes her debut here, was a great Wonder Woman. I love her theme song. They tried to cram way too much into this movie. All I really wanted to see was Batman versus fight Superman. I didn't need to see a prelude to Justice League. I didn't need to see the Death of Superman storyline. It was too convoluted. There was too much going on.
I've talked extensively with Hellhound about my thoughts on the DCEU, but I'm not going to get to that here. My problem with this movie was, for one, it was incredibly dark for being what it was. A little too dark. Yeah. But exactly what you said. They tried to cram too much into it. Yeah. It was like 18 different comic stories in one.
Yeah. All I wanted to see was Batman fight Superman. Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, I think it was a good performance. It wasn't a good Lex Luthor performance. If he'd been playing the Riddler, it'd have been dead on. He didn't feel like Lex Luthor to me. Again, I don't think it was a bad job. I just don't think that's what I think. That's not what I think of when I think Lex Luthor. I think more cold, calculating, more serious. And weirdly enough, in a movie so serious, the only part that wasn't serious was Lex Luthor. Like, what? I mean, am I right? But yeah, it was okay. I give it a 7 out of 10. I just think that it should have been more focused. Then, of course, we had Suicide Squad, which I think is mostly terrible. I'm sorry, I really don't care for this movie. It's too MTV. I didn't think the acting was too bad. I think Margot Robbie is a good Harley Quinn. Yep. Will Smith, I used to be a big fan of him. I don't know how I feel about him as Deadshot. He's...
So, I'll speak on this one, because I think I've seen this one more than the other ones. Well, more than the last two, at least. I don't like it, but I think Margot Robbie was great as Harley Quinn.
Yeah, she was.
I do like Will Smith as Deadshot. I think he looked great.
I'm a little mixed.
And I just like Will Smith, to be honest with you.
I was always a big Will Smith fan. As Floyd Lawton, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's perfect, but, I mean, he's Will Smith, so for me, Will Smith can kind of get away from things. I think Margot Robbie, like pretty much anybody else here, she was the best part of that movie. Yeah. The movie overall.
And the bad thing about this movie is Jared Leto was a good choice for the Joker. He could have been a great Joker. He has potential, but no. The tattoos, the grill, the fact that he was a juggalo, Fallout Boy, Hot Topic reject with running a business, and he was like a mob boss. No, that's not how you do the Joker. I'm sorry.
When I first heard that Jared Leto was going to be the Joker, I was ecstatic. I was so happy. I was like, oh my god, that's an incredible casting choice.
Had potential to be the best.
And then I saw a picture of him, And I was like, wait a minute, is that the Joker or is that tattooed henchman number 5?
That's the newest member of the Insane Clown Posse. That's what I thought.
Tattooed henchman number 5.
Yeah,
That's all I saw.
Yeah, he could have been one of the Joker's henchmen with that look, but no.
Anyways.
Yeah, I think that's the worst one. That one's like a 6 out of 10, and that's being generous. Then we have Wonder Woman, which I thought was excellent. This is one of the best superhero movies ever. I loved it.
Yep.
Again, it has a very bland villain, kind of like the others. They haven't had a really good villain yet.
Good stuff.
Ares, the British guy who's about as intimidating as a gerbil. He looked badass at the end, but it was still that British guy underneath. Gal Gadot was great. Chris Pine as Steve Trevor was great.
Gal Gadot's phenomenal.
Very good movie. This was the best one in the DCEU thus far. And then, of course, we have Justice League, which I loved. I don't care what anybody says. I know it had a bland villain. So do most of the MCU movies. A lot of them have bland villains. Loki, Thanos, Vulture. That's pretty much it. Yeah, Steppenwolf was very forgettable. I loved all these characters. I thought they all did a great job. Ben Affleck was great. Gal Gadot was great. Ezra Miller was great. Jason Momoa was great. I've been a fan of him ever since I saw him at Game of Thrones. We're going to talk about him more here in a minute.
Ryan Reynolds did a really good job.
We're at the 6-minute mark, and we haven't even got to Aquaman yet. I apologize.
Ryan Reynolds was great as the Green Lantern. Anyways.
That's my only complaint about this movie, is Green Lantern wasn't in it. Bad.
I
Very
probably
bad.
would have went and saw it if he was.
Henry Cavill as Superman was actually good in this movie. He actually felt like Superman to me. The all-American hero, big blue boy scout, truth, justice, and the American way, all that. He actually felt like Superman. And in this movie, he's the second best Superman next to Christopher Reeve. He was great. I love this movie. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care that they CGI over his mustache. I don't care. That doesn't make a bad movie. I didn't even notice until somebody pointed it out. But they must have fixed it on the Blu-ray because I still don't notice. I don't care about that. That doesn't make a bad movie. All the characters are great. They all played off each other very well. They had great chemistry. I liked it. So in my opinion, they had 3 mediocre movies, then 3 good movies, and Aquaman was the best so far.
Did you say Aquaman?
Aquaman.
Aquaman is the best Marvel movie that DC's ever made.
Yeah, exactly.
I loved it.
I absolutely adored it. Jason Momoa was a great lead. I mean, we've seen him as Aquaman before in Justice League and briefly in Batman vs. Superman. Wow, he was great. He resembles more the later incarnation, like the Conan underwater. I have a lot of Aquaman comics from like the 90s where he's got the long hair and the beard and he's got a hook for a hand. Jason Momoa is more like that Aquaman and less like the Super Friends version.
Yeah,
which is fine. It's fine.
I've never been a big Aquaman fan. Admittedly, I'm not a big DC guy, like the Batverse.
Understandable.
It's definitely been my thing, but it's growing on me. It is growing on me, so don't crucify me. But I love this movie, and it really turned me on to Aquaman, and I'm highly considering, like, getting some more back catalog, reading up on Aquaman and learning more about him.
Yeah, it's a
because this movie was fantastic.
Loved it.
Especially, it's a great gateway.
It's one of the best superhero movies I've ever seen.
Not an Aquaman fan, and this is one of my favorite movies of the year. One of my favorite superhero movies of all time.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. Oh man, what can I say? I mean, the visuals were awesome. Atlantis looked amazing. It was beautiful. It was just stunning. Honestly, I love underwater stuff. I love anything to do with marine life, sea creatures. Ever since I was a wee lad, I've been really obsessed with the ocean and all the creatures in the ocean. We've never seen a superhero movie underwater before. We've never seen anything like it, and they really did that.
It was
to
done damn well, too.
Atlantis was just, wow, what a world they created. I'll take that over Themyscira or Asgard or even Wakanda. I think Atlantis just looked fantastic in this movie.
Not only did everything look amazing, but everything sounded amazing.
Yeah.
The way that the waves would crash, the way that they would move through, and everything about it just had this epic feel. The one thing I would say I didn't like about the movie was the soundtrack was kind of awful. I don't ever want to hear Pitbull ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. Especially not in Aquaman.
Under any circumstances, I want to hear Pitbull. So that kind of threw me a little bit.
The soundtrack was kind of bad.
But,
it
is what it is.
Yeah.
The villains. Can we talk about the villains?
Okay, well, Aquaman's most well-known and 2 main villains are Black Manta and Orm, the Ocean Master. They were both in this movie. Both of his main villains are in this movie. They were both done flawlessly. I mean, very, 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 very well. They felt just like the villains. He actually went by the name Ocean Master. He actually went by the name Black Manta. He had his Ocean Master had his squid mask. Black Manta had his helmet. They weren't embarrassed to be the villains, unlike Mandarin in Iron Man 3.
As a person who, again, didn't read the comics, they explained, it was a really quick explanation of, why he was Black Manta. which I thought was kind of neat. I don't know if that's how it was in the comics.
He was
as well,
kind of more sympathetic
but
now.
yeah,
Like,
I really enjoyed it.
It's kind of like Killmonger from Black Panther. He was a little more sympathetic. You kind of related to him a little bit.
Yeah,
he was a little more brutal, though.
I think Killmonger is my favorite comic book movie villain that's happened so far. Well, maybe not Thanos probably, but Black Manta is up there.
Yeah, Black Manta and Ocean Master are by far
They're
the best.
done really well.
They're the best DCEU villains so far. Again, Zod was okay, played by Michael Shannon and Man of Steel. All the rest were garbage. Lex Luthor or Doomsday, Enchantress or whatever, whoever the villain in Suicide Squad was, Ares, Steppenwolf, they're all pretty much forgettable. Black Manta and Ocean Master were done very well. The acting was done well. Great antagonists. They're Aquaman's two main antagonists. They're both in this. I mean, how awesome is that? They're both balanced very well. Black Manta doesn't have a whole lot of screen time, but he has a very significant presence in the movie. And I'm glad that he didn't really, like, him and Ocean Master were working together, but they had their own thing going on. I liked that. Black Manta was motivated by revenge. Ocean Master was trying to become the king of Atlantis. He was trying to take the throne. Yeah, everything was great. They've changed Aquaman's story so many times over the years. I mean, he was originally just a human. His dad gave him underwater breathing power somehow. Then he was half human, half man. Then his dad was a wizard, and they've changed his origin so many times. My favorite's always been his dad being a lighthouse keeper, Tom Curry, and his mom being Queen Atlanta from Atlantis. That's always been my favorite origin. I'm glad they went with that one, because I always thought that fit the character the best, and here was no exception. It was a great... it wasn't really too much an origin story. They showed a lot of flashbacks to when he was a kid. He was first developing his powers. He first discovered he could talk to marine life. He first discovered he could breathe underwater and talk underwater. There wasn't a whole lot of that. I thought this movie was going to take place before Justice League, but it's actually after. And he still had to discover that he was a hero. He still had an arc. He still learned a lot. He still changed. He's a very dynamic character.
No spoilers, but he started out, didn't feel like much of a hero.
Yeah, exactly.
By the end of the movie, I was like cheering him on. It was incredible.
Oh gosh, yeah, it was amazing.
One thing that I wanted to kind of throw in there about the origin thing, again, being a person who doesn't know much about Aquaman, I was really happy the way they did his origin. Right?
It's very easy to follow, very straightforward.
Very easy to follow, and it didn't take up hours of the movie. It was like, okay, here's a spot, and current day, we're in the action, let's go. And then I thought that was incredible. That's what I want. Like, I don't need to see like Peter Parker's backstory 600 more times, right? I know Spider-Man, right? So Aquaman, okay, this is what happened. Cool, let's get to the Aquaman stuff. And we got to the Aquaman stuff.
Granted, we've never seen Aquaman's origin in a movie before either, but at the same time, they didn't need to spin up. It wasn't like Aquaman Begins. It was
I felt good
about
already
Aquaman. Yeah.
Again, and if you're going,
they gave us enough.
You are an Aquaman fan. You know a lot about Aquaman. I know next to nothing. And I felt satisfied with it.
Yeah,
so I think that's a good barometer.
Exactly, yeah.
I was like, okay, cool, that's what happened. All right, next, let's go to the action.
There was a lot going on in this movie. Like, they were in one place, and they changed to another place, and then went here. Like, it was just all over the place. It was a thrill, and I liked that. I liked how they kept changing the location. There was more and more subplots building, but they balanced it all very well.
It didn't convoluted. It was never a mess.
Exactly.
It always like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It was never too crowded. And all the acting was great. Amber Heard was great as Mara. Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Amber Heard was my favorite part about this movie. I thought Mara was incredible. Great. Again, don't know much about her in the comics. In the movie, I loved her. I think she is incredible. She looked incredible. She acted incredible. Everything was just awesome about that.
She had a lot to do too. She wasn't. She was by no means a damsel in distress at all.
No, she's a badass.
She was awesome. Of course, we have Willem Dafoe, the Green Goblin.
I didn't know he was in this movie. The second I saw him, I looked at my friend. I was like, "Dude, Willem Dafoe, check that out."
He was great. We had Dolph Lundgren.
He looked a little bit weird, huh?
Yeah, I know.
He had like some stuff going on.
He kind of looked like. He kind of looked like. Oh my god! I can't believe his name.
Weird. I don't know. He looked goofy.
It looked like Chuck Norris a little.
Yeah. It was like Dolph Lundgren and Chuck Norris somehow had a baby.
Exactly.
Who was also old. But something else that did pretty cool was the CGI in this movie is pretty good.
And that's one thing people have been complaining about. I keep hearing people saying the one bad thing is too much CGI. There was a lot of CGI, but they didn't use CGI for anything that they couldn't have done with practical effects. Everything that was CGI should have been CGI. There was a lot of CGI, but it was all done well. That was not a complaint of mine. I don't know why people are so against that.
Character. I'm not gonna no spoilers, right? So you see some characters younger in flashbacks, and then you see them older in different periods, right? And it's the same actors and actresses, but it's
looks just like
Yeah,
them.
and it looks incredible the way they, like,
great.
like slight manipulation.
I
I
love
think
how
it's
they
really
can
good.
do that now.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the acting was great. I forget the guy's name who plays Ocean Master. He was really good. And then, of course, the guy who played David Kane, a.k.a. Black Manta. David Hyde in the comics. I think it was David Kane in the movie. Everybody was really
awesome,
good.
Man.
Yeah, great villains. Great supporting cast. Nicole Kidman as Queen Atlanta was good.
She was great.
The actor who played Aquaman's dad, Tom Curry, he was really good. Everybody's great. The supporting cast, the lead, and the action. Oh man, the visuals, the world, the locations.
They did what they've needed to do for a while, in my opinion. The thing that DC struggled with is realizing what they are and being fun comic book movies.
Yeah.
This movie took me on a fun thrill ride. It had like its ups, its downs.
It never let
it's
up.
Fun.
It never let up. It grabbed you and it just never let up. I was never bored.
That's what I loved about it.
Yeah, I was never in a hurry to get to the next scene.
It wasn't like brooding.
I enjoyed
and,
every
like,
minute of it.
dark. But it had moments where you're like, oh man, that sucks. But then it had these
brooding,
amazing,
dark stuff,
fun atmosphere.
The dark, brooding, serious stuff works for Batman. It doesn't work for Superman, as we've seen, and it wouldn't. I don't think it would work for Aquaman. Now, this Aquaman is a lot darker than the comics. He's not the blonde hair.
He's Jason Momoa. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's Jason Momoa, but he was great. He was a badass, and he was awesome. He was very
was
far from the Super Friends version.
He was badass, and I loved him. Like I was just telling Helen before this, I was like, man, I want to go back and read some Aquaman, but they're all just some blonde white
Doesn't
dude.
look like Jason Momoa.
It's not Jason Momoa. I'm upset now.
I mean,
but still, incredible. I loved it. I really.
He had a
loved
little bit of blonde in his hair, It's close enough.
Sure.
Usually, I'm a comic book purist. Usually, I can't stand when they change a character's appearance too much. It didn't bother me at all here. It was perfect. It fit.
It's one of those things like Jason Momoa is so awesome for our time. I mean, he was Khal Drogo. He's awesome. So when they showed him as Aquaman, I'm just like, cool.
Yeah, they put their own spin on it. He didn't look like this, even though he did get the classic costume. That's not a spoiler. They've released pictures of it.
It was in the trailer as well.
Yeah, it was in the trailer. But he still does feel like Aquaman to me. He feels enough like Aquaman, especially like kind of the later, again, the Conan underwater, the long hair, the beard, the hook for a hand. He feels more like that Aquaman. But there's there was enough character traits of like the classic, the Aquaman that we're all familiar with seeing. There was enough of that. And yeah, he is Aquaman to me. He is Aquaman. I mean, it was great. As far as standalone, solo superhero movies go, again, this is one of the best. And this, to me, DC did 3 mediocre movies and 3 great movies. Wonder Woman, Justice League, which I know I'm in the minority on, and Aquaman were all great to me.
I was about. I loved Wonder Woman.
It's great.
Again, not a big DC person. I thought Wonder Woman was incredible. About like 3/4 way through Aquaman, I'm like, man, I think I like this movie as much as I like Wonder Woman. By the end of the movie, I'm like,
same.
I like this movie better than I like Wonder Woman.
Me too. I was like,
and that's saying like I was like,
this is just as good as Wonder Woman. I was like, this is even better.
Yeah, this is even better.
I think it's the best one so far.
It keeps getting better and better and better.
The awesome world that they built, the visuals,
when I left, I felt like I left something. A part of me there. I was like, man, that's one more.
See, when I left the theater after seeing Man of Steel, I felt sorry for Superman. I said, poor Superman. I was like, wait, what? I was like, why would I feel like that? When I left Aquaman, I said, I want to have superpowers. I want to breathe underwater. That's how you should feel after you see a superhero movie. You shouldn't feel depressed and underwhelmed and feel like, oh man, poor, I don't want to see moping, brooding superheroes. Again, that works with Batman. That doesn't work with Superman.
You should go there and have a blast.
Have a good time.
That's what this movie is.
Have fun.
This movie is so fun.
Yeah, it's not. And for people who keep saying DC is overly dark, overly serious, see this movie. It'll change your mind.
And that's how I felt, honestly.
They had a rocky start. They start off that. They're catching up.
This movie's colorful. It's vibrant. It's fun. It's got funny moments. It's got action-packed, some serious moments. It's got everything you can want in a superhero movie.
I still don't think the DCEU is quite up to par with MCU, but this movie...
They're trying. They're getting there.
Definitely it gives it a run for its money. And I liked it better than a lot of the MCU movies, honestly. The best MCU movies still beat it, but some of the other ones... Yeah. I think this was way better.
I would say it's up there with the better.
Exactly, most definitely. And
I'd
probably say Aquaman, then Wonder Woman, then Justice League, then Batman vs Superman, Man of Steel, Suicide Squad. That's probably how I'd rank the 6 of them. This was definitely the best, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I look forward to seeing him in other movies.
I may see future DC releases if he's in it.
I'd recommend it.
I really like. Yeah. Jason Momoa is Aquaman, and I really like this movie.
And the storyline of the Ocean Master, the Kingdom of Atlantis wanting to take over the surface world and invade is kind of a basic, really simple storyline. But they actually did something different. They did more with it here. It wasn't just that. like there was a lot more to it, and I appreciated that. They you know, again, that story's kind of redundant. It's been done so many times before. Not really in a superhero movie per se, but they definitely kept it fresh and original. I've seen this story done before in the comics, but it was done very well here, and definitely put a new spin on things. And yeah, I really have nothing bad to say. There wasn't really anything. Maybe if I think about it more, let it sink in more, I might come with, yeah, the soundtrack could have been better. He needs a really good theme, like Wonder Woman has, and some of the other heroes have. Like, you know, Batman and Superman have had iconic themes in some of their past movies. Aquaman needs like a really awesome
I'd be cool with that. Not Pitbull.
Yeah, not Pitbull. Not Pitbull. Please.
But no, the movie was so good.
Stellar.
Highly recommend. I'm sure at some point you'll do a spoiler review of it. I probably won't be here for that.
Yeah,
so,
I'll do a review of it when it comes out on Blu-ray, and then I'll buy it, and then I'll do like a full review. I need to review all the superhero movies. There's so many superhero movies I need to review. Like, I just need to review all of them, and it's going to be a lot of work. But
maybe I'll join you on some more.
Absolutely.
On some more
we can do this again.
videos.
Yeah,
Huh?
it doesn't have to be.
If you guys like me joining in on some random stuff,
let us know in the comments. Yeah.
But Hellhound, I appreciate you having me.
No problem.
I will get out of here now.
Yeah.
Enjoy your Aquaman.
Will do. Thanks for coming. All right, guys, I'm Hellhound. Thank you for watching. Go see Aquaman. You will not be disappointed. Highly recommended. All right.